The story begins with the introduction of the King Continent Lightning Altar. Gu Xuanchen, the hero, reflects on the countless years that have passed and expresses his hope to use the lightning strikes from the tribulation cloud to unseal his Danshan, allowing him to break through to the true key realm. At this moment, the third disciple Myrtle Empress expresses her shame at her inability to suppress the tribulation any longer. Meanwhile, other disciples also appear, with the elder disciple, king of the 1,000 demonic cults, imploring their master to reconsider his dangerous plan. The second disciple, Dragon Sword Ancestor, agrees, calling the plan too dangerous. Despite their concerns, Gu Xuanchen insists that their prolonged stay in the King Continent is because of him, and his disciples acknowledge that their achievements are due to his tutelage. They express their willingness to sacrifice their entire life's cultivation to unseal his Danshan. Gu Xuanchen recalls his past as a matchless genius in both martial and formation Dao, and his efforts in nurturing countless geniuses over the years. He explains that the innate seal on his Danshan has kept his cultivation stuck at the key training realm, and that using the lightning tribulation to break the seal is his final resort. He resolves that today he will either break the seal or die trying, and then quickly moves towards the dragon beast. As Gu Xuanchen engages with the beast, the 10th disciple Unfettered Martial Emperor tries to reassure the others, expressing confidence that their master will overcome the tribulation. However, when the disciples see the hardened structure of Gu Xuanchen's body, they are all shocked and call out to him. Gu Xuanchen, reflecting on his 10,000 years of effort, questions whether it has all been in vain and refuses to accept defeat. He then begins to fall. The scene shifts to the Liu family jail, where Gu Xuanchen is bound in iron chains. Someone splashes water on him and asks a lady referred to as Eldest Miss what they should do as he isn't waking up. The Eldest Miss, assessing the situation, remarks that everything the Gu family owns is already in her hands. She then approaches Gu Xuanchen, placing her hand on his head and releasing a powerful aura while thinking about the fragment of the Emperor's book and the now useless sword art. She expresses her frustration, feeling that her time was wasted, and orders her servants to drag him out and feed him to the dogs. Gu Xuanchen is taken outside and discarded in a desolate place. Suddenly, a yellow energy approaches and enters his head, causing him to open his eyes abruptly. He realizes that he is reincarnated into another body, reflecting that it was fortunate he saved his own life by protecting and escaping with his soul when the tribulation destroyed his body. After 700 years of reincarnation, he finds himself in the body of a talentless descendant of the Gu family and is now able to reawaken his past life memories. The best part, he notes, is that the seal that had plagued him for tens of thousands of years is finally gone. Gu Xuanchen reflects on the situation, realizing that the powerful Liu family covets the sword art of his Gu family. To protect themselves, the Gu family used the sword art as a bargaining chip, arranging for him to wade into the Liu family. However, on the night of the wedding, after obtaining the sword art, his wife, Liu Shengsu, shattered his Danshan, crippled his cultivation, and locked him up to be tortured daily. Bowing to the Gu family, he resolves to play along with a look of revenge gleaming in his eyes. The scene shifts to the Gu family. Gu Xuanchen's sister, Gu Yuan, pleads with the Grand Elder, expressing her unwillingness to marry. In response, Gu family elder Gu Heibo chastises her, reminding her that young Master Ling personally visited them, showing his high regard for her, and that the elders have already agreed to the marriage. Upon hearing this, Gu Yuan starts crying. Meanwhile, the despicable young master of the Ling family, Ling Ba, sits nearby and arrogantly declares that he is not seeking their consent, implying that no one in the Gu family is brave enough to oppose him. He crudely remarks that he will take good care of Gu Yuan and orders her to be taken away. Two men begin to drag Gu Yuan, who resists, crying out in protest. Suddenly, a yellow energy appears and beheads the two men. Gu Xuanchen then steps in, challenging Ling Ba by asking if he dares to say the Gu family has no one to defend it. Gu Yuan embraces her brother, relieved, and he assures her that he will handle the situation. Ling Ba, recognizing Gu Xuanchen, mocks him for being so eager to die after only 2 years in the dungeon. He taunts Gu Xuanchen, threatening to make him watch as he violates Gu Yuan in the bridal chamber, suggesting it will be more enjoyable with her brother witnessing it. Gu Xuanchen, using his power, seizes a sword from someone, who exclaims in surprise about their weapon. Gu Xuanchen then strikes Ling Ba, causing him to fall. Gu family elder Gu Heibo, shocked, accuses Gu Xuanchen of being crazy. A figure appears, reprimanding Gu Xuanchen for harming young Master Ling and questioning if he intends to bring ruin upon the entire Gu family. Gu Xuanchen responds by accusing his accusers of being the true ruiners of the Gu family. He chastises them for acting like wolves against their own kin while behaving submissively towards outsiders. He points out that they have been reduced to begging for mercy from a mere descendant of the Ling family, questioning what more there is left to ruin in the family. Gu Heibo, infuriated by Gu Xuanchen's words, threatens to destroy him and make him apologize to young Master Ling. He then attacks with the Heavenly Retribution Sword technique. Gu Xuanchen counters by releasing yellow energy from his sword. Gu Heibo, shocked, recognizes the sword technique but is quickly overpowered by Gu Xuanchen, who declares that it is time for the old man to go down. With a powerful attack, Gu Xuanchen brings Gu Heibo to the ground. Elder of the three clans, Gu Haifei, expresses disbelief at what just happened. He finds it impossible that Gu Xuanchen, whose cultivation was known to be in the true key realm, could kill an elder from a large clan in the spiritual realm. He asks the other elders if they noticed Gu Xuanchen using the Emperor's scripture. The elder contemplates the significance of the Emperor's scripture, recognizing it as an Emperor-level technique that warriors create through their lifelong comprehension of martial arts, which they assimilate into the heavenly principles upon reaching the Emperor realm. This technique can take various forms, such as a cultivation technique, sword technique, or martial art, and is capable of suppressing all enemies. He reflects on the Emperor's scriptures that the Gu family has cultivated over generations, including the ancient sword technique, which was said to have been created by the legendary sword genius Qin Tian, also known as the Sky-Propelling Sword Emperor. However, only a small fragment of the ancient sword technique has survived to this day, leading to the gradual decline of the Gu family. The elder is struck by Gu Xuanchen's sword intent, wondering if he has discovered the complete ancient sword technique and comprehended its true essence. Gu Xuanchen reassures his sister, telling her not to worry as it will be over soon. He then reflects on the fragment of the Emperor's scripture that seems to be in the original owner's mind of his current body. Using it felt familiar to him, and he realizes that this sword technique must have been left by his disciple, Xiaoshen. He is surprised to see his disciple's marks everywhere after 700 years, but wonders why only broken pages remain, questioning if Xiaoshen's descendants have fallen to such a low point. Considering his reincarnated state, Gu Xuanchen acknowledges that he holds countless secrets of martial arts and emperor-level techniques, including the Emperor's scriptures. However, he recognizes that the foundational strength of his current body is too weak, and his cultivation is insufficient to use the Emperor's scripture for too long, making it necessary to end the confrontation quickly. Gu Haifei, addressing those around him, questions why they are standing idly by and acknowledges that Gu Xuanchen has already comprehended the true meaning of the family's inherited sword technique. He asserts that, besides Gu Xuanchen, no one else is fit to be the master of the family now. Gu Haifei and the other disciples kneel, welcoming Gu Xuanchen back as the family head. Gu Xuanchen acknowledges their gesture, noting that they understand the situation well, saving him from further effort. One disciple expresses concern about acknowledging Gu Xuanchen as their family head, pointing out that his actions have offended the two major families, Lu and Ling. Gu Haifei responds, explaining that if they acknowledge him as their leader, he will face any arising issues first. If he overcomes them, they will share in his success, and if he cannot, they can always hand it over. The other disciples agree, praising Gu Haifei's wisdom. As Gu Xuanchen and Gu Yuan walk together, Gu Yuan praises her brother for his impressive actions, expressing hope that they will no longer be bullied. Suddenly, Gu Xuanchen coughs up blood, causing Gu Yuan to call out in concern for her brother. Gu Yuan, noticing her brother's condition, urges him to lie down. Gu Xuanchen, concerned about being overheard, advises her to keep her voice down to avoid drawing attention and getting into trouble again. She agrees quietly. Reflecting on his situation, Gu Xuanchen realizes that his weak body couldn't handle even a single sword move. He understands the need to upgrade his physique quickly. He recalls that the first step in martial arts is to quench the body, followed by practicing true ki. This allows one to sense the aura between heaven and earth and guide it into the body to refine spiritual power, progressing to the spirit stage. He thinks about the stages above the spirit stage: Heaven stage, Void stage, 10,000 Law stage, Saint stage, and Emperor stage, each divided into two realms and further into early, middle, and peak stages. He notes that reaching the Emperor realm and shattering the Void allows one to ascend into the sacred domain. In his previous life, despite thousands of years of effort, he was hindered by a seal that prevented him from extracting spiritual energy. Now, after rebirth, he is determined to reach the peak and make up for past regrets. His top priority is to strengthen his body and improve his cultivation. Gu Yuan urges her brother to calm down and adjust his breath while she watches over him, silently vowing not to let anyone disturb him. Gu Xuanchen notices that his sister is hiding a dagger, realizing that if he hadn't arrived in time, she might have planned to kill herself. He reflects that the Ling and Lu families will be the first targets of his retribution. He decides that choosing an Emperor's scripture as his basic skill is crucial for his quick advancement in self-protection. Utilizing his energy, he recalls being in the key refining stage in his previous life, but notes that his current body's foundation is too weak. Therefore, he chooses exercises that focus on strengthening the physique, settling on the Shioya technique for now. As he activates his energy, powerful yellow energy emanates from the book, breaking through the house's roof and shooting upwards. Gu Yuan, standing outside, observes the energy and realizes that her brother is stepping into the spirit stage and has broken through the little spirit realm. Inside, Gu Xuanchen laughs, reveling in the feeling of spiritual energy that he had longed to introduce into his body in countless past lives. In the next scene, the Shioya sect is shown. A disciple exclaims that the ancestor has moved. The patriarch of the Shioya sect, Hu Haiquan, notes that the spirit has appeared and wonders if it is the ancestor's guidance. He reflects on how this sect's founder, Emperor Xiaoyao, ascended to the sacred domain 100 years ago and never sent messages across the border even when the sect was nearly extinct. He questions what kind of genius could attract such attention from the ancestor. A disciple mentions hearing that Elder Mo he recently accepted a personal disciple named Lu Shengsu in Anyang City who broke through to the little spirit realm at the age of 18. The disciple speculates that Lu Shengsu might be a heaven-sent genius instructed by the ancestor. Hu Haiquan orders the disciple to immediately send a message to Elder Mo, inviting Miss Lu, the genius designated by the ancestor, back to the sect. The disciples comply with his order. Gu Xuanchen tells his sister Yuhan to stop looking at him in a certain way. She explains that she can't help but feel happy for him finally breaking through the little spirit realm. Reflecting, Gu Xuanchen thinks about how in his previous life he was obsessed with unraveling seals and never paid attention to emotional matters or relationships. Now, having an extra sister feels a bit troublesome to him. Gu Xuanchen then addresses the patriarch, stating that his subordinates have important matters to discuss and asks Yuhan to leave. She agrees and leaves. Yuhan reports that Miss Lu was just taken to the Xioya sect by Elder Mo He, who even placed a Xioya order on the roof of the Lu family. Gu Xuanchen notes that this fox managed to escape quickly. Wu Heifei points out that the main issue isn't whether Miss Lu left, but the Xioya order, which grants the Lu family absolute asylum from the Xioya sect. Even if the royal family visits the Lu family, it must first show respect before entering. Gu Xuanchen dismisses this concern. A disciple remarks that since they have offended the Ling family, they can only rely on the protection of the Lu family, but Gu Xuanchen has been divorced by Miss Lu. Another disciple adds that the Gu family is now isolated and helpless. They have repeatedly discussed and wish to ask the patriarch if he can hand over the complete volume of the ancient sword technique to repair relations with the Lu family. In response, Gu Xuanchen throws a tea dish at the disciple, hitting him in the throat and causing him to fall, bleeding from his mouth. Gu Xuanchen questions when Hu Haifei will start making decisions for him. Hu Haifei wonders if Gu Xuanchen has reached the mid-little spirit realm. Gu Xuanchen declares that the Lu family will be destroyed and Lu Shengsu will die. He suggests that if Gu Haifei fears being implicated, he should leave the Gu family. Gu Xuanchen, that troublesome boy, had some luck in just one day. He not only unlocked his spiritual energy but also advanced to the middle stage. Gu Haifei draws his sword, requesting enlightenment from the patriarch. Gu Haifei then considers that it would be better to capture Gu Xuanchen and hand him over to the Lu family first. This way he could assess his potential and also appease the Lu family. With their support, he could swiftly ascend to power. Achieving multiple goals in one move seems like an excellent plan to him. Gu Haifei remarked to Gu Xuanchen that despite comprehending the true meaning of the sword technique, it had rushed out of the hall earlier and sustained injuries. He advised Gu Xuanchen to be more cautious for the future of the Gu family. Gu Xuanchen responded that they should leave together as he was in a hurry. This shocked all the disciples present. Gu Haifei, addressing the disciples, scorned them for their foolishness, emphasizing that Gu Xuanchen was currently unarmed and therefore useless despite his understanding of the sword art. Gu Xuanchen emitted energy from within himself, suggesting that he thought the disciples were smarter than Gu Haifei. Seeing Gu Xuanchen's sword intent, Gu Haifei expressed concern. Gu Xuanchen asserted the power of the Emperor's scripture, criticizing those who underestimated it. Then he simultaneously attacked everyone present with his sword. All were left lying on the ground, defeated. Gu Xuanchen exclaimed triumphantly about the spiritual power he had just unleashed, commanding that the corpses be cleaned up and sparing the survivors. Gu Yuan followed her brother's order and swiftly dealt with Gu Haifei by stabbing him in the mouth with the dagger. She then warned that while her brother was forgiving, she would not be as lenient in the future. The disciple expressed unwavering loyalty to the patriarch and Gu Yuan, swearing allegiance without hesitation. Afterwards, reflecting on how formidable the patriarch had become, the disciple wondered how Gu Yuan could be even scarier. Gu Yuan, entering the house, privately thought about not wanting her brother to know what had transpired. She reassured herself, telling herself not to be afraid and to stay strong. She reminded herself that her brother was occupied with important matters and that she needed to manage the household well and shield him from disturbances in the future. On the other side, Gu Xuanchen contemplated the Pill Pavilion, an essential intelligence network in the Qingyan continent. It consisted of numerous top-level alchemists with branch halls spread across every corner of the continent. The girl asked if she could assist young master. Gu Xuanchen replied that he intended to sell a pill recipe. He thought to himself that if he wanted to improve his strength quickly, nothing would be faster than using drugs, making the Pill Pavilion the obvious first choice. The girl had instructed him to follow her. Upon entering, someone remarked, "Isn't this Gu Xuanchen? Why is he here?" The lady mentioned that he was here to sell something. Another person scoffed, saying, "What a joke. Can a piece of trash like him write pill recipes?" Lu Shengsu dismissed him. "I heard he wanted to climb to the top of the alchemy path in Anyang City, following the genius Miss King Gu." Manager King Gu of the pavilion then asked what the matter was. Gu Xuanchen requested Miss King Gu to estimate the price. King Gu pondered over the required materials and the intricacies of the recipe. Finally, she stated that she would not accept the recipe. Gu Xuanchen asked why. King Gu remarked that she hadn't even heard of the names of the herbs mentioned in the pill recipe. She speculated that young Master Gu, having been ousted by Lu Shengsu and now appearing at her pill pavilion, might be attempting to deceive them. Gu Xuanchen responded by insulting King Yu, suggesting she was ignorant for not recognizing such a low-level pill, implying that Anyang City's first alchemy genius was merely a hollow reputation. In response, King Yu challenged Gu Xuanchen to a pill gambling match, daring him to prove his claims. Gu Xuanchen internally considered King Yu a person who relied on others and felt surprised that she would openly challenge him in this manner. Pill gambling involved both alchemists refining the same type of pill simultaneously, with the winner determined by the quality and quantity of their alchemy. The stakes were high, as the winner could determine the fate of the loser's life and death. Gu Xuanchen accepted the challenge confidently, though he privately worried about having no place to conduct his alchemy, that he didn't expect King Yu to impulsively bring the challenge to his doorstep. Gu Xuanchen mentioned that their alchemy room was equipped with top-notch alchemy cauldrons and earth fire, which he believed were more than sufficient for refining high-level pills. He proposed that they each refine a second-rank breaking spirit pill, with the winner to be determined after half an hour based on the quality of the pill. Internally, Gu Xuanchen thought about the significance of the second-rank breaking spirit pill, which was intended for warriors of the spirit realm to advance directly from the little spirit realm to the sky spirit realm. He acknowledged that ordinary earth fire would struggle to refine this pill, but Pill Pavilion's tempered earth fire was ideal for the task, making the process effortless for him. Gu Xuanchen then utilized his fire control technique to ignite the fire. Initially dubbing the strength of the earth fire, he noticed purple energy spreading around them. Satisfied, Gu Xuanchen remarked, "That's pretty much it." King Gu questioned what was happening and why the earth fire had suddenly weakened that day. Soon after, an explosion occurred. King Gu rushed over and asked urgently what had happened. Master of Pill Pavilion, Tao Hai exclaimed in distress that it was all over. He lamented that he had spent a lot of money to acquire fourth-grade medicinal materials like Sky Star Branch and Frostless Leaf from the headquarters of the Imperial City, yet the earth fire, which had been performing well, had unexpectedly become weak. In response, King Yu asked Tao Hai to confirm if the combination of profound pill art with Delu Flower, Green pill art with Sky Star Branch, and Wangxiang pill art with Frostless Leaf could create what kind of medicine. Internally, she wondered about the truth behind the situation and whether those medicinal materials truly existed. Tao Hai remarked that those were fourth-rank herbs, questioning where King Yu had encountered them, as she was only a second-level alchemist and shouldn't have access to such materials. He then asked if she had found any ancient pill formulas, believing such a recipe could refine a fourth-rank high-level pill. In response, King Yu inquired about the fourth-rank high-level pill recipe. Tao Hai speculated that her reaction indicated she was once again competing and gambling against others. He reminded her of the master's warning that there were always people more talented in skies beyond skies, cautioning her against relying solely on her reputation as the #1 alchemy genius in Anyang and being presumptuous, as it could lead to offending the master. Undeterred, King Yu retorted that even if Gu Xuanchen happened upon a high-level alchemy formula by chance, she was confident she could surpass it in alchemy skills. She then sat down, closed her eyes, and commanded the fire control art to activate. Upon opening her eyes again, she observed the earth fire closely, wondering why it seemed on the verge of draining up. Tao Hai mentioned that he had lost control of the earth fire, leading to the pill furnace bursting. King Yu acknowledged that this issue wasn't limited to him alone, as all rooms releasing the earth fire seemed affected. King Yin inquired about the situation, prompting Tao Hai to point out something to Yura regarding the earth fire. King Gu reacted upon seeing the pill furnace, marveling at its strength and questioning how it could be so potent. Tao Ha deduced that the earth fire wasn't exhausted previously, but concentrated into Gu Xuanchen's alchemy chamber using extremely clever fire control alchemy. Gu Xuanchen asserted to King Gu that her life no longer belonged to her. King Gu then asked if the pill being made was the two-pattern spirit pill. Tao Ha confirmed it, explaining that such pills could only be produced when refined to their utmost limit. He noted that the efficacy and value of a second-rate pill with two patterns far exceeded that of a third-level pill. Tao Ha expressed astonishment at encountering someone who could effortlessly refine such a two-pattern spirit pill. Gu Xuanchen remarked, extracting energy from his hands, that King Gu's master was knowledgeable. King Gu drew her dagger and retorted to Gu Xuanchen, stating defiantly that she, King Gu, was not afraid of death, and since he had won, he should take her life. Tao Ha intervened, exclaiming urgently, King Gu, no! Then, like King Gu, he released energy and the dagger fell from her hand. Tao Ha introduced himself to Gu Xuanchen as Tao Ha, the master of the Pill Pavilion, expressing regret for his earlier ignorance and lack of insight. King Gu tried to interject, but Tao Ha silenced her, insisting that she remain quiet. Gu Xuanchen then asked about the relationship between Tao Yun and Tao Ha, prompting Tao Ha to reveal that Tao Yun was their ancestor. Gu Xuanchen pondered to himself, surprised that Tao Ha referred to their ancestor so casually by his first name. Gu Xuanchen commented that Tao Yun had been at least a ninth-rank alchemist in his time, questioning why Tao Ha had only reached the third rank by his 40s. Tao Ha explained that although the mysterious heaven fire control art left by his ancestor had been renowned, over time, it became incomplete. Despite being a direct descendant, Tao Ha had only superficially learned a small portion of it, expressing deep shame towards his ancestor. Gu Xuanchen then revealed that he had once received a favor from Tao Yun, and now he was repaying it. He placed his fingers between Tao Ha's eyes and transmitted something mentally, stating it was the completion of the mysterious heaven fire control art. Tao Ha, astonished, asked about the connection between Gu Xuanchen and his ancestor. Gu Xuanchen confirmed it was through mind transmission and thanked Tao Ha sincerely for the opportunity to repay the debt. Gu Xuanchen turned to King Gu and mentioned her fate. King Gu defiantly responded, asserting he could kill her if he wanted. Gu Xuanchen slapped her, telling her to wake up. King Gu, shocked, exclaimed that he dared to hit her. Gu Xuanchen replied that he certainly did. He pointed out that just because her master pampered her, it didn't mean everyone else would. He noted that she was merely a second-level alchemist in her 20s and had nothing to be proud of. He emphasized that if it weren't for his connection with her master, she would already be a corpse. Tao Ha thanked Gu Xuanchen for his leniency. King Gu protested to her master, but Gu Xuanchen decided it wasn't worth fussing over a girl so much younger than him. Suddenly, Gu Xuanchen noticed an urgent arrow from the Gu family. He thought about how such an arrow was used only when the Gu family faced life or death situations, signaling all clansmen in the city to return immediately. He wondered if something serious had happened to the Gu family. On the other side, a man asked once again about the whereabouts of Gu Xuanchen. A disciple, pleading for mercy, insisted he did not know. The other disciples trembled in fear. The man then turned to the Ling family patriarch, Ling Xuanchen, and mentioned that the disciples were not willing to reveal any information. Ling Xuanchen ordered that they be killed one by one until someone remembered. He addressed Fu Yuan, telling her that he would not kill her because Bear liked her so much and that she would marry Bear. Gu Xuanchen then declared that due to Ling Xuanchen's words, the Ling family would cease to exist in Anyang City after today. Fu Yuan cried out for her brother, and Gu Xuanchen acknowledged her, noting that the patriarch had finally returned. Ling Xuanchen observed that Gu Xuanchen had reached the middle stage of the sky spirit realm. A man commented to Patriarch Ling that Gu Xuanchen had only been at the little spirit realm before leaving, expressing confusion over his sudden advancement. Gu Xuanchen slapped a man and identified him as a traitor. The man called out to protect the Patriarch. Ling Xuanchen commanded everyone to back off, stating that he would personally torture Gu Xuanchen to death. He then attacked Gu Xuanchen with the Overlord Blade Art. Gu Xuanchen blocked Ling Xuanchen's sword with his own, mocking the low-level martial skill. He then launched a powerful attack on Ling Xuanchen. Ling Xuanchen cursed and both attacked each other with their swords, creating a powerful aura. Surprised, Ling Xuanchen wondered why there were more and more cuts appearing on him. He dismissed it as a small trick and threatened Gu Xuanchen's life. Gu Xuanchen used the distant sword art. Fu Yuan was shocked, thinking that this skill was only meant for elders and above in the Xioya sect, wondering how her brother could know it. Disciples rushed to protect the patriarch and attempted to kill Gu Xuanchen, announcing their presence and readiness to defend. Ling Xiaoshen's men tried to pull him back, urging him to retreat. Gu Xuanchen declared that it was too late to leave. Tao Hai appeared and informed Gu Xuanchen that he had sent Pill Pavilion warriors to support the Gu family upon hearing of their trouble. Gu Xuanchen expressed regret for his family's unfortunate situation and hoped that everyone wouldn't mock them. Tao Hai addressed Gu Xuanchen with concern, and meanwhile, Gu Xuanchen's men captured all of Ling Xiaoshen's men. Reflecting on the situation, Tao Hai noted that he had summoned warriors immediately upon seeing the Gu family's urgent arrows, but he hadn't expected Gu Xuanchen to defeat the Ling family on his own. He marveled at Gu Xuanchen's impressive alchemy and martial arts skills. Tao Hai then instructed everyone to stop standing around and to quickly send the injured members of the Gu family to the Pill Pavilion for treatment. A disciple promptly responded and agreed to follow the order. Tao Hai thought to himself that Gu Xuanchen is a remarkable person who keeps his secrets well hidden and should not be offended. Gu Yuan asked her brother if he was all right, and Gu Xuanchen reassured her that he was fine. Relieved, Gu Yuan expressed her relief but then questioned him about his use of the Xiaoya Sect's sword move when he defeated the Ling family. She also angrily inquired whether he was still connected to Lu Shangsu, stating that if it were true, she would never forgive him. Tao Hai mentioned that Miss Lu had recently been accepted as a disciple by Elder Mo of the Xiaoya Sect, and suggested that Miss Yuan wanted to understand why Gu Xuanchen was proficient in the Xiaoya Sect's guard sword art, hinting it might have been taught by Miss Lu. Gu Xuanchen asked Master Tao about the relationship between the Xiaoya Sect and the Xiaoya Sect in Penglai Mountain. Reflecting, Gu Xuanchen wondered if Trample's sword art was indeed the Xiaoya Sect's guard sword art. Tao Hai then recounted how, 3,000 years ago, Emperor Xiaoya had established the Xiaoya Sect in Mount Penglai, the place with the most abundant aura in the King continent, making it a powerful force. Gu Xuanchen affirmed his knowledge of this, thinking to himself about his significant involvement in the sect's formation and naming. A disciple then thanked the master for the formation. Gu Xuanchen instructed a disciple to keep the array talisman of 1,000 illusion space, and the disciple agreed. Tao Hai remarked that it was unfortunate that 700 years ago, after Emperor Xiaoya's mysterious disappearance following his ascension, many enemies sought revenge. With no leader, the Xiaoya sect weakened day by day until it had to retreat to the border of the southern desolation, where it stands today. Reflecting on this, Gu Xuanchen thought about the great distance between southern desolation and Penglai Mountain. He'd recall hearing the third elder mention the Xiaoya sect, and initially believed it was just a coincidence that the names were the same. However, he now realized that they were all his disciples' grandchildren. He pondered how, given Lil Ten's temperament, he must have been trying to find his aura after the thunder disaster. Gu Xuanchen felt responsible for the sect's decline and resolved to restore the Xiaoya sect to prosperity as a master for his disciple. Gu Xuanchen then recalled Lu Shangsli's younger brother and asked about him. Tao Hai confirmed that the only male descendant of the Lu family was named Lu Tao, who had committed various evils in Angang City. Due to the Lu family being the head of the 8 major families in the city, no one dared to provoke him. Gu Xuanchen, reflecting on this, thought that the Lu family was no longer the head of the 8 families. He considered that Mo He, the disciple's grandson, had poor judgment for allowing the Xiaoya sect to protect the Lu family and decided that the sect needed rectification. As he prepared to leave, he instructed Master Tao to take care of the wounded in the Gu family while he went out to have some fun. Inwardly, he resolved to make the people of Anyang City understand the consequences of offending the Gu family. Following this, we see the Lu family banquet. The Wei family patriarch congratulates Patriarch Lu on obtaining the Xiaoya order, calling it a true mark of genius. The Liu family patriarch adds that with the Xiaoya order, it is no problem to walk sideways not only in Anyang City but also in the Xian kingdom. Lu Sihai, the patriarch of the Lu family, responds modestly. Wei presents Lu Sihai with blood ginseng found in the Qiangxia territory as a gift, which Lu Sihai accepts graciously. Suddenly, Gu Xuanchen arrives, remarking on the lively event and announcing that he has prepared a special gift. A person cries out for their father to help them. Lu Sihai demands that Gu Xuanchen release his son immediately. The Liu family patriarch questions Gu Xuanchen's actions and urges him to let the young master Lu go. Following this, we see the Lu family banquet. The Wei family patriarch congratulates Patriarch Lu on attaining the Xiaoya order, calling it a true mark of genius. The Liu family patriarch adds that with the Xiaoya order, it is no problem to walk sideways not only in Anyang City but also in the Xian kingdom. Lu Sihai, the patriarch of the Lu family, responds modestly. Wei presents Lu Sihai with blood ginseng found in the Qiangxia territory as a gift, which Lu Sihai accepts graciously. Gu Xuanchen recalls that the last person who threatened him turned into ashes. He then remarks that it seems Patriarch Lu is quite dissatisfied with his gift and, given the situation, decides to present another gift. Lu Sihai urgently tries to stop him. Lu Sihai demands that Gu Xuanchen let go of his son. Gu Xuanchen then uses his powerful aura on Tower. Lu Sihai, seeing this, asks if Tower is alright, and Tower responds that his Danshan and cultivation base are ruined. Lu Sihai, in shock and anger, accuses Gu Xuanchen of abolishing his son's cultivation. Gu Xuanchen responds that he has only repaid the Lu family twofold. Lu Sihai, enraged, says there's no need for further talk and that he will kill the lunatic himself. Gu Xuanchen questions whether two sky spirit realms can kill him and suggests that the Lu family will be destroyed along with them. Lu Sihai dismisses this as a big claim, asserting that with Gu Xuanchen's current cultivation base, it would take another 100 years for him to pose a real threat. He accuses Gu Xuanchen of offending the Lu family and despising the Xiao order. Gu Xuanchen retorts that while his current cultivation base might struggle against 1,000, he now possesses a trump card. He declares that the treasures the Lu family sees as protection will become the weapon of their destruction. He then unleashes a powerful aura. Disciples standing nearby express their shock, noting that Gu Xuanchen can actually control the Lu family's Xiao order. Lu Sihai attacks Gu Xuanchen, but Gu Xuanchen evades the strike. Lu Sihai demands to know how Gu Xuanchen is aware of the formation formula of the Xiao order. Gu Xuanchen replies that there are many things Lu Sihai doesn't know. Frustrated, Lu Sihai orders his men to kill Gu Xuanchen immediately. The people around them ready to attack move together. In response, Gu Xuanchen unleashes a powerful aura, attacking Lu Sihai's men. The attacked men cry out for help, and Lu Sihai, observing this, is left in shock. He thinks to himself, astonished, that it's impossible for this kid not only to mobilize the Xiao order, but also to master a high-level attack formation. Meanwhile, Gu Xuanchen approaches Lu Sihai. Gu Xuanchen advises Lu Sihai not to mess with the Gu family in his next life. Then, Gu Xuanchen delivers a powerful punch to Lu Sihai, causing blood to come from his mouth. The person kneels and pleads, introducing himself as the patriarch of the Qin family, Qin Wanyu, and the patriarch of the Ma family, Ma Ben. They express their wish to follow the lead of Patriarch Gu from now on. Gu Xuanchen instructs them to retrieve the Ling family and Lu family's treasures within half an hour, promising to spare them from death. They agree immediately. The next morning, Gu Xuanchen's second uncle, Gu Kaiyuan, reports that after raiding the Ling family and Lu family, they obtained a total of 70 spirit stones, 62 second-level pills, 94 second-level herbs, and various weapons. Tao Hai, thinking to himself, is amazed that young Master Gu's brief outing resulted in the destruction of the Lu family. Gu Kaiyuan further reports that 8 major families are asking the Patriarch to take over the tax payment of Anyang City. Tao Hai thinks to himself that Gu Xuanchen not only dealt with the Ling and Lu families but also tidied up the remaining 6 major families, predicting that the Gu family will probably rule Anyang City in the future. Gu Xuanchen states that the hidden dangers of Anyang City have been eliminated and leaves the affairs of the city to his second uncle in Yuhen to decide. Gu Yuven asks her brother where he is going, to which Gu Xuanchen replies with Koeo Sect. While thinking about a member of the Lu family who escaped and the necessity of cleaning up the rubbish mixed in their own sect, Gu Yuven, curious, asks why he is suddenly going to Koeo Sect. Gu Xuanchen then explains to Yuhen that her inability to practice martial arts for many years is not because she was born with a dead vein, but because she has a chaotic celestial body. Tao Hai reacts in shock, questioning if it is true that Yuhen has a chaos celestial body, which is legendary for being the most suitable physique for cultivation. Gu Xuanchen confirms this, explaining that a cultivator with this physique cannot have spiritual power flow through their meridians unless activated by the primordial fruit, one of the 9 spiritual treasures. Once activated, the talent potential exceeds that of ordinary cultivators. He mentions that he has many things to handle and cannot always protect her. Placing his hand on Gu Yuhen, Gu Xuanchen says that if he can find the primordial fruit at Koeo Sect, it will help open her meridians, allowing her to protect herself in the future. Gu Yuhen, moved, hugs her brother and expresses her gratitude. As Gu Xuanchen starts to leave, he internally wonders when her habit of hugging will change. Tao Hai steps out and, acknowledging the challenge, mentions that the primordial tree is a treasure of the Koeo Sect and will not be easily handed over. He hands something to Gu Xuanchen and advises him to be careful. Gu Xuanchen tells them not to worry, asserting that he has his own way to make them obediently offer it. The Kaedeng Mountains then appear. Gu Xuanchen thinks to himself that there is no mistake. The remaining spiritual power fluctuations of the 1,000 illusory space formation should be here. He reflects that he didn't expect the fluctuation of the spiritual power of the erase symbol to attenuate so much, causing a significant delay. Releasing powerful energy, Gu Xuanchen commands it to open. As the portal begins to open, he remarks on the site, recognizing it as the Xiaoyao sect after hundreds of years. He mentions that he has created a small river for them, ensuring that the sect will not have to worry about a lack of spiritual power in the future. The 10th disciple inquires whether this ancient mythical beast can indeed be used to guard the sect. Gu Xuanchen declares that he just takes what he wants and doesn't care about the consequences. The 10th disciple responds by saying that the primordial tree will mature and bear fruit in another 3,000 years, thanking the master for his concern. Gu Xuanchen reflects on how, despite providing the best configuration after Little 10th disappeared, the disciple's grandchildren could only survive by relying on the big array of guardians, considering them a useless bunch. Upon seeing the dragon, Gu Xuanchen identifies it as a Tier 2 spirit beast, a water dragon. Mo Kuan-yin, a disciple of the Xiaoyao sect, appears and attacks the dragon beast, using a technique as fast as the wind. However, the dragon strikes Mo Kuan-yin forcefully, causing her to fall. Gu Xuanchen catches Kuan-yin and questions if all Xiaoyao sect's disciples are at her level. He then asks how she managed to practice the trample sword art and demands she look at his demonstration. Gu Xuanchen moves swiftly like a dragon and launches a powerful attack, which makes Kuan-yin think to herself about how he could know the martial arts of their sect. Gu Xuanchen thinks about guiding Kai to return to Yuan, using Kai to control the wind and moving the sword with will. Then he kills the dragon. Kuan-yin runs towards Gu Xuanchen. Gu Xuanchen comments on Kuan-yin's nice talent and then reflects on his past life, where he couldn't reach the spirit stage and could only teach his disciples face to face. Now that he has reached the spiritual level, every word and deed can be turned into the profound truth of the sword to help people cultivate. Kuan-yin thinks about how she had been stuck in the flat stage of the little spirit realm and couldn't break through. But just now, by observing the senior's sword move, she comprehended breaking through to the sky spirit realm. She recalls that the sect master and the elders once said that although the Xiaoyao sect has retreated to the southern wilderness, there are still some hermits in the sect who are retreating and practicing hard. Once they come out, it will be the day when the Xiaoyao sect will rebuild its glory. Mo Kuan-yin kneels and expresses her gratitude to the senior for his guidance, while thinking that the person in front of her must be a hermit powerhouse of their Xiaoyao sect, since he knows their guard sect sword art. Gu Xuanchen inquires if the sect has recently accepted a disciple named Liu Shengshu and where she is now. Mo Kuan-yin responds that he must be referring to Elder Liu. After Liu Shengshu joined the sect master and several elders worked together to open the primordial blessed land to help her practice. Kuan-yin thinks that this senior hermit must have suddenly awakened for Elder Liu, a disciple handpicked by the founding patriarch. Gu Xuanchen is surprised to hear that Liu Shengshu became an elder as soon as she started and went to the primordial blessed land. He then asks how many people are in the outer sect now. Mo Kuan-yin explains that each of the 7 Big Dipper peaks has an elder in charge, with over 100 official disciples, including herself, managing daily affairs. Gu Xuanchen instructs her to call all the disciples except for the elders guarding the 7 peaks, along with the mountain guards to Ling Yuan Peak. She agrees, then thinks to herself that he even knows about the mountain guards, who are warriors composed of disciples with slightly lower qualifications, but absolute loyalty to the sect. Using his power, Gu Xuanchen moves swiftly, and Mo Kuan-yin calls out for him to wait for her. She follows behind him, thinking that despite her best efforts, she cannot catch up. She marvels that although he is only in the mid-stage of the sky spirit realm, the power of his star walk technique is astonishing. Wondering why a senior of his level does not have a flying spirit weapon, she concludes that he might be trying to point out her need to improve her agility. Determined, she vows not to disappoint his expectations. Gu Xuanchen thought about how in the past he could leap over mountains with a single jump and cross rivers in just 2 steps. Now, however, his current physical abilities felt slower than a turtle's. After taking the 2nd rank breaking spirit pill and using his own method to expand his danshin more than tenfold, he knew that while his cultivation speed might be slower than others, it allowed him to accumulate more spiritual power and steadily build a strong foundation. Reflecting on Mo Kuan-yin's swift comprehension of the essence of Star Walk, he realized that if she continued at this pace, she would surpass many of the sect's disciples. When Mo Kuan-yin called out to him, asking him to wait, Gu Xuanchen expressed his concern about not losing the person. At Ling Yuan Peak, Mo Kuan-yin thanked him for his guidance and requested him to wait. Gu Xuanchen instructed her to first understand the newly comprehended sword art and agility there and wait for everyone. He mentioned the freedom he had to come and go as he pleased within the Xiaoyao sect's boundaries and then entered inside. At the Kangling River, Gu Xuanchen thought about how the spiritual energy had significantly weakened. Later, at the Temple of Lingyan, he noted that fortunately the group of prodigals had not completely depleted the spiritual resources of the buried Lingyan temple. He reflected on the temple being constructed from supreme spirit crystals, housing the evolution of the heavens within, which made it an unparalleled tool for cultivation. Despite the decrease in spiritual energy compared to the past, it still surpassed anything in the southern wilderness. Sitting down, Gu Xuanchen closed his eyes and emphasized the temple's crucial role in rapidly advancing the disciples of the Xiaoyao sect as a whole. Mo Kuan-Yin cautioned him to be careful. Nai Kuyun appeared, and Mo Kuan-Yin stopped him. He exclaimed that she was crazy to allow an outsider to breach the forbidden area of their sect and damage the spiritual source. Mo Kuan-Yin responded firmly, asking Nai Kuyun not to disrespect the senior. She pointed out that the protective restrictions were intact, and the senior had entered using a high-level spell-dissolving technique, proving his affiliation with their sect. Nai Kuyun scoffed at the idea of the senior being referred to as such, given his Sky Spirit realm qualifications. He insinuated that Mo Kuan-Yin and the senior might have had an illicit affair in the forbidden area and then tried to cover it up by claiming he was a senior, attempting to intimidate them. After Nai Kuyun's remarks, blood trickled from his mouth, and his companion anxiously called out to senior brother Mi, asking if he was okay. Gu Xuanchen approached Mo Kuan-Yin and requested the sword. Mo Kuan-Yin addressed him respectfully as senior. Gu Xuanchen reacted sharply, criticizing Nai Kuyun's command to his soldiers. Nai Kuyun ordered his men to attack, prompting Gu Xuanchen to unleash his powerful energy technique, striking down each assailant one by one. Another disciple remarked to Nai Kuyun about Gu Xuanchen's strength and expressed fear of imminent death. Nai Kuyun rebuked him, urging action since they were mountain guards prepared to sacrifice. As one guard moved forward, Mo Kuan-Yin intervened, cautioning them not to act impulsively. She worried privately about the profound and unpredictable nature of Gu Xuanchen's martial arts, fearing for the lives of the disciples if he became enraged. Nai Kuyun accused the guards of forgetting their duty, ordering them to arrest Gu Xuanchen. They attacked together, but Gu Xuanchen swiftly kicked the ground, causing a tremor that sent them all scattering away. Gu Xuanchen remarked that in the face of a formidable enemy, ordinary disciples retreated while relying on mountain guards to fight seemed ridiculous. He acknowledged the strong resolve of the mountain guards and then instructed them to accompany him into the temple for practice, dismissing the rest to the river. Engaged in cultivation, Gu Xuanchen attracted attention from a disciple marveling at the ample spiritual energy, speculating it to be from the Xiaoyao sect's spirit river. Another disciple expressed awe at the unprecedented spiritual energy. Later, Gu Xuanchen emanated a powerful aura like everyone else. A disciple exclaimed about a figure appearing in their mind teaching sword art, and others felt their meridians activated. Mo Kuan-Yin pondered how Gu Xuanchen could instruct nearly 100 of them simultaneously. Meanwhile, she suspected Nai Kuyun fled amidst the chaos to likely complain to his uncle, wondering anxiously about his disappearance and fearing potential trouble for Gu Xuanchen. One by one, disciples announced breakthroughs in their cultivation levels. From the middle stage of Kigai refining to the late stage of Sky Spirit Realm, echoing each other's success. Mo Kuan-Yin expressed gratitude to the senior for their assistance. She reflected that despite years of rigorous training yielding no results, meeting the senior today was fortunate as she achieved breakthroughs in 2 consecutive levels. Gu Xuanchen and Mo Kuan-Yin then advanced together. Mo Kuan-Yin remarked on the celestial thunder tribulation, noting that at the peak of the late stage of the Sky Spirit Realm, a warrior's accumulation of spiritual power reached its human limit. She emphasized that understanding even a fraction of the profound meaning of the way of heaven allowed one to communicate with the world and grasp the secrets of heaven independently. However, she cautioned that such knowledge defied the natural order and could provoke thunder disasters from heaven. Gu Xuanchen added that successfully transcending the tribulation would lead to entering the first realm of the heavenly stage, the heavenly realm, but failure would result in being annihilated in ashes under the thunder tribulation. Gu Xuanchen began to show anger. Mo Kuan-Yin urged the senior to calm down, mentioning they hadn't anticipated such a significant tribulation. Gu Xuanchen stated that he was waiting for those prodigal individuals to emerge from the primordial blessed land, eager to see their talents. He exuded an imposing aura and remarked that with such a strong foundation, everyone in the Xiaoyao sect seemed oblivious to their appointment as mountain guards. Mo Kuan-Yin pondered that the senior had appeared genuinely intent on harming someone just moments ago. All the disciples began to flee from the scene. Mo Kuan-Yin urged the senior to run, warning that the thunder tribulation might reach him. Gu Xuanchen reassured them, stating that with him present, they would not die. He added that although the power of the Ling temple wasn't as strong as it used to be, it was still more than sufficient to withstand the thunder of heaven. He explained that he intended for them to temper their physical bodies in the thunderstorm, and if they couldn't resist, they should hide within the temple. He advised them to save their astonishment for later, concentrate, calm down, and focus on realizing the law of heaven within the extracted thunderstorms from the temple. One girl expressed her confusion, while another questioned how the law of the way of heaven, which was usually based on personal perception and accumulation, could be extracted from the thunder tribulation. Gu Xuanchen started to leave. Mo Kuan-yin asked him to come in together. Gu Xuanchen told her to practice on her own, stating that those laws were useless to him. He then reflected that the laws of heaven and the thunder were too low-level for him, far inferior to the spiritual energies. He believed that refining these spiritual energies repeatedly could maximize the refinement of his own energy cultivation, making it easy to defeat people beyond the first or second realm. After using the capacity expansion method, he noted that although his cultivation base was in the mid-stage of the sky spirit realm, his strength was close to that of a human emperor. One disciple remarked that with the means of their senior, he had likely already comprehended the laws of heaven. Another disciple suggested that the recent practice was merely to teach everyone the method of cultivation, implying that the senior had no need for those spiritual energies. A third disciple expressed their gratitude for having the senior and declared their intention to follow him. Gu Xuanchen, reflecting on his own need to hurry up and practice, acknowledged that it would be too shameful if he remained weak while his disciples' grandchildren were about to enter the heavenly realm. Outside the Ling River, Nai Quyuan urged others to follow quickly, accusing Mo Kuan-yin of not only leading people to trespass into the forbidden area, but also instigating the mountain guards to enter and destroy the spiritual source. He speculated that they must have violated the ancestral precepts to attract the thunder tribulation. The elder assured that he would not spare them lightly. Nai Quyuan expressed his concern about their numbers, but Elder Shimag, reminding him of the Xiaoyo Sect's rules, angrily pointed out that anyone entering the heaven stage could be promoted to Sect Elder. He emphasized that his status as an elder in the heavenly realm was not just for show. Nai Quyuan acknowledged this, and Elder Shai reiterated that everything depended on strength. A disciple of the Xiaoyo Sect, Han Gong, questioned what it meant that Senior Gu asked everyone to come out while he stayed inside to practice alone. Mo Kuan-yin speculated that with Senior's skill, he wouldn't need to cultivate in such a manner, noting that he didn't seem to care about the laws of heaven. She wondered if he was setting an example, implying they should not slacken their basic cultivation even after a breakthrough. Han Gong agreed, suggesting that must be the truth. Nai Quyuan, addressing Mo Kuan-yin angrily, demanded she come over quickly, as Elder Shi was aware of their actions. Upon noticing that everyone had broken through, Nai Quyuan expressed shock. Elder Shi, astonished by the collective breakthroughs of almost all the mountain guards, wondered how it was possible. If only one mountain guard had broken through, it could be considered accidental, but the collective breakthrough was remarkable. He then knelt, acknowledging the elders. This left Nai Quyuan in shock. Nai Quyuan accused that the group must have dug into the source of the spirit river to cultivate quickly and break through. Elder Shi punched Nai Quyuan, calling him the bastard, and pointed out that the spiritual energy of Ling River was several times thicker than before, not decreasing but increasing. He accused Nai Quyuan of trying to make him a sinner of the Xiaoyo Sect by tricking him into coming there to arrest people. Elder Shi then declared that he had taken down the disciple who was bewitching people with lies and asked the elders how to deal with him. Mo Kuan-yin, showing indifference, suggested that they do as they please with Nai Quyuan, calling him a bastard for causing them to miss such a big opportunity. She lamented that now everyone else was in the heavenly realm while they were stuck in the spirit realm. She also mentioned that Nai Quyuan almost tricked them into committing crimes and suggested beating him hard. Mo Kuan-yin then thought to herself that it wasn't good that the Lingian Sword Sect, Wuji Palace, and Xingyu Pavilion had come to the mountain. Gu Xuanchen was cultivating when Mo Kuan-yin and Han Gong arrived. Han Gong explained that the collective tribulation had likely caused atmospheric fluctuations, attracting people from the three sects. He added that with all the elders in charge retreating, they were unsure of what to do. Gu Xuanchen inquired about these three forces. He explained that the Xiaoyo Sect, Liuyan Sword Sect, Wuji Palace, and Xingyu Pavilion were all under the jurisdiction of the Raging Fire cult. He noted that the four major sects had to pay tribute to the Raging Fire cult every year. While the three forces appeared peaceful on the surface, there were frictions over resources. Over the past 100 years, the Xiaoyo Sect had declined and was often suppressed by the other three forces. Gu Xuanchen asked if the Xiaoyo Sect still paid tribute to the Raging Fire cult. He then thought about how a sect like the Raging Fire cult, which seemed to have come out of nowhere, dared to step on the Xiaoyo Sect's head, considering it an unfortunate sect. Han Gong mentioned that when the ancestors retreated to the southern wilderness, many classics of the sect were lost, leading to a decline in their current state. Gu Xuanchen responded by telling them to handle the situation themselves, indicating that he was uninterested in the past and the present issues. He then thought to himself that he had no time for such minor sect frictions and planned to destroy the Raging Fire cult when he emerged from the mountain. He then ordered them to leave. As Mo Kuan-Yin and Han Gong were leaving, Han Gong asked what Gu Xuanchen meant. Mo Kuan-Yin reminded him of Gu Xuanchen's remark about the Xoeo sects still paying tribute to the Raging Fire cult. Han Gong started to understand, and Mo Kuan-Yin explained that Gu Xuanchen's dissatisfied expression indicated that he didn't regard the Raging Fire cult as significant, and therefore wouldn't care about the three sects. The implication was clear. If the three sects were obedient, they could be left alone, but if not, they should be dealt with harshly. This explanation left Han Gong in shock.